The studio lights were unforgiving, bleaching the color from everything except the man seated beside Leo. Caleb Hale, an A-list actor now, but 3 years ago he was just the man Leo had left without a word. Being a guest on this talk show, a minor artist invited to add a touch of culture, had seemed like a good career move. Now it felt like walking into a trap. Leo kept his gaze fixed forward, his body rigid. Behind them, another guest, a bubbly actress named Chloe, leaned in. She whispered that everyone fell a little bit in love with Caleb Hale, asking if Leo was also under his spell. Leo could only manage a tight smile. He was intimately familiar with Caleb's spell. The memory of Caleb's eyes, dark and intense in the low light of their shared apartment, was a ghost that had never left him. He remembered the desperate way Caleb would whisper his name, a stark contrast to the placid, cool demeanor he presented to the world. Pulling himself from the memory, Leo murmured an agreement with Chloe, hoping it sounded convincing. He was seated so close to Caleb that he barely dared to breathe. He relied on the anonymity he'd cultivated over the years. The baseball caps, the masks, the preference for quiet signings over televised interviews. Caleb's gaze had swept over him earlier with no sign of recognition. A small, insignificant painter wouldn't register. The host's attention finally turned to Caleb, steering the conversation toward his famously non-existent love life. The question of past relationships hung in the air, and the studio audience fell silent. Caleb calmly spun a pen between his fingers, his expression unreadable. He then stated that he had been in a relationship before. It was with a man, he clarified, and it ended badly. Leo's blood ran cold. He nearly choked on the bottled water he was sipping. He watched, stunned, as Caleb continued with the same serene expression, explaining that he had been completely played. The host, momentarily speechless, tried to laugh it off as a joke. Caleb cut him off smoothly, his voice even. It wasn't a joke. He was still looking for him, he said. 3 years, and he was still searching. The rest of the taping was a blur. As soon as it wrapped, Leo pulled his cap down low and made for the exit, but Chloe stopped him, insisting he wait for the car service back to the hotel. He reluctantly agreed. While waiting, he fiddled with the drawing pen he always kept in his pocket, a nervous habit he'd never managed to break. The pen slipped from his grasp, clattering on the polished floor. As he bent to retrieve it, a pair of expensive leather shoes entered his vision. Caleb's shoes. Caleb picked up the pen and handed it to him. Leo took it with a mumbled thanks, his heart hammering against his ribs. He turned to leave, but Caleb's voice stopped him. He told Leo that his hat was crooked. Leo froze as Caleb stepped closer, his presence overwhelming. Caleb's hand reached out to adjust the cap, his fingers brushing against Leo's hair. Caleb's eyes narrowed slightly, a flicker of curiosity in their depths. He observed that Leo seemed nervous. Leo forced a laugh, remarking that it was only natural to be tense around a star of Caleb's caliber. The arrival of Chloe broke the spell. Caleb gave a slight nod and headed to the car, leaving Leo to finally exhale, his body trembling. That night, the internet was on fire. Caleb's on-air confession had become the #1 trending topic. Caleb Hale's lost love was everywhere. Comments flooded every social media platform, with fans vowing to find the mystery man. Then, a new post appeared on Caleb's official Twitter. Simply read, to clarify, it wasn't 3 years. It was 1,086 days. The internet exploded again. Leo stared at the screen, the number burning into his memory. Caleb was insane. Utterly insane. The final segment of the show took them to Northwood University, the beautiful, sprawling campus where he and Caleb had met. As the crew and cast walked the familiar paths, Leo lagged behind, lost in a memory. He saw this exact path covered in snow, Caleb patiently building a snowman, his fingers red with cold. Caleb had called him over, telling him to make a wish to the Snow King. Leo had scoffed at the childishness of it, but Caleb's steady gaze had worn him down. He'd closed his eyes and wished for Caleb to have a future full of success. In that moment of darkness, Caleb had pulled him into a fierce embrace, his voice a low murmur against Leo's ear, confessing that he loved him. A voice pulled him back to the present. It was Caleb watching him. He asked if Leo was also an alumnus of this university. A cold sweat broke out on Leo's skin. He denied it, claiming his university was in a different city. Caleb smiled, a slow, knowing smile that didn't reach his eyes. He said he must have misheard something. Then, the rest of the tour was an exercise in quiet torture. Caleb seemed to be testing him. During a break, when the crew offered around a fruit platter, Leo instinctively avoided the mango, a fruit he was severely allergic to. Caleb, from across the room, noted it aloud, asking if he had a mango allergy. Leo denied it stiffly, claiming he just didn't feel like it. A moment later, Caleb casually offered him a small bowl of blueberries, his favorite. The final day of shooting couldn't come soon enough. Leo packed his bags the second they wrapped, ready to disappear again, for good this time. But as the elevator doors opened on his floor, Caleb was standing there, as if waiting. Caleb's eyes went from Leo's face to the suitcase in his hand. He asked where Leo was going. Feeling like a truant caught by the principal, Leo mumbled that he had urgent business to attend to. Caleb nodded slowly. Just as Leo stepped past him into the elevator, relieved to have escaped, Caleb spoke again, his voice soft. "Goodbye then, Leo." The old nickname hit him like a physical blow. Without thinking, he nodded in response. A split second later, he realized his mistake. The closing elevator doors halted and began to slide open again. Caleb stood in the gap, his face a mask of cold triumph. The illusion shattered. "It really is you," Caleb said, his voice dangerously quiet. He was pulled from the elevator and into Caleb's hotel room before he could protest. Leo kept his head down, determined to deny everything. Caleb didn't let go of his wrist. He remarked how much Mr. Asher resembled an old friend, one who even shared his last name. He then called him by his old nickname again, the name only Caleb had ever used. Desperation clawed at Leo's throat. This wasn't happening. He made a final, desperate bargain. He told Caleb he would take off his mask if Caleb promised to let him go. Caleb agreed. With trembling hands, Leo reached up and pulled down the black fabric mask. Underneath was another identical mask. It was a stupid, childish prank they used to play in college. But Caleb didn't laugh. His expression remained placid, but his eyes were dark with a storm of emotions. He asked if Leo was done playing games. He told Leo that he had looked for him for 3 years. He wanted to know if Leo had anything at all to say to him. The fight went out of Leo. He sighed, admitting it was all in the past. Caleb's face tightened. He took a step closer, his voice dropping to a raw whisper, asking why Leo was so determined to stay away. Before Leo could answer, Caleb's hands were on his face, stripping away the second mask, pulling off his cap. And then Caleb was kissing him, a desperate, punishing kiss that was more about reclaiming territory than affection. Through it all, a broken sound escaped Caleb's lips. He told Leo how much he'd missed him. Trapped in the embrace, Leo felt his own resolve crumble. He was helpless against this man. He always had been. Later, tangled in the sheets of Caleb's bed, the world outside forgotten. Caleb asked him if he knew why he had chosen to reveal everything on a live stream. He wanted everyone to see. He wanted Leo to know that the past would never be an obstacle. He would never care about the judgment of others, and he would never allow Leo to be a secret. Loving someone was not a crime. Leo could only murmur that Caleb was truly, irrevocably mad. In the morning, as Leo dressed in the wreckage of the room, he found a text message on his phone. It was from a number he hadn't seen in 3 years, but one he knew by heart. Caleb's mother. The message was simple and chilling. You promised you would stay out of his life. The promise he'd made to her last night, a promise not to leave again, turned to ash in his mouth. He booked the first flight out to a small coastal town. The sea air was cold. Leo smoked for the first time in years, the harshness in his lungs a welcome distraction. The memories came flooding back. The discovery of his relationship with Caleb. The meetings with Caleb's manager, his mother. The fire at his family's apartment building. A random, cruel accident that had left his own mother injured and his vocal cords damaged from the smoke. It was in the sterile white of the hospital room, with his mother lying in bed, that Caleb's mother had made her final plea. She had begged him not to ruin her son's future. He had been weak, scared, and broken. He had agreed. He had thought the summoning spell had its limits, that distance would protect him. He was wrong. One evening, the world went black, and he was back in Caleb's arms, in Caleb's bed. Caleb held him, his fingers tracing the faint scars on his throat. He told Leo to stop running. He said that soon, Leo wouldn't have to feel like he was hiding anymore. Leo didn't understand what he meant until the spell wore off and he was back in his lonely room. A few weeks later, at a signing for his new art book, a woman in a prim coat approached his table. It was Caleb's mother. Leo's heart stopped. She waited until the line had cleared, then asked if they could talk. Outside, in the drizzling rain, she did something he never expected. She apologized. She explained that her past actions had been driven by fear, but she had come to understand that she was wrong. Caleb had confronted her, relentlessly, over the past few weeks. He had made it clear that he would not be swayed, that his life was his own. The public's reaction to his confession hadn't been career-ending. In fact, it had garnered a strange kind of respect. She saw now that her son was not a child to be managed, but a man who knew what he wanted. She told Leo that she would no longer interfere. Leo realized then that Caleb had known her identity all along. He had orchestrated this. When Leo confronted him, Caleb was waiting, a pair of new slippers set out for him. He admitted everything. He had investigated the real reasons Leo left, and one by one, he had dismantled every obstacle. He told Leo he had loved him since the first day of college and that he would never let him go again. He then snapped a sleek, black bracelet around Leo's wrist. Clicked shut. Leo stared at it, then at Caleb's smiling face. Caleb called it a token of affection. Leo called it illegal. Caleb simply pulled him close. The second season of the talk show was a phenomenon. On camera, Leo and Caleb maintained a professional, if warm, distance. Off camera, they were inseparable. The internet, however, was not fooled. Fan-made compilation videos of their stolen glances and subtle touches went viral. The consensus was clear. The quiet artist was Caleb Hale's lost love. One night, after Caleb was caught using Leo's phone to reply to his own Instagram post with "I love him so much," the secret was officially out. Their social media feeds became a deluge of support and congratulations. During a live broadcast, the host read out a fan question, asking Caleb if he knew it was Leo from the very first day on set. Caleb looked directly at Leo, a slow smile spreading across his face. He admitted that he had. The shape of Leo's back, the way he held his pen, he knew him instantly. All the public declarations, the 1,086 days, the on-air confessions, they had all been for an audience of one. It was all for Leo. Later that night, away from the cameras and the endless commentary, in the quiet darkness of their shared space, Caleb kissed him. The fire that had been smoldering for 3 long years was finally free to burn, bright and endless.